So it's day 4 at AWS Reinvent. I've been here since Sunday, so I'm on my knees, but it's been a great event so far. 65,000 people, absolutely heaving, with people can't get through some places, which are just testament to the power of the business model, if you like. And so what are my key themes? Well, I've got 4. Generative AI's continued evolution is one. The second is a move from post-POC and towards an engineering and developer focus is the second one. The third is about what's the third? Oh yeah, business measurability. So the metrics that are appearing and how they're influencing things. And then finally a quick word about digital sovereignty, which is a popular topic, not just in Europe, as we'll come back to. So hold on, it's going to be quite a long one, I think. So first I need to look at AI's continued evolution, but I need to be in the expo hall first, so wait one, I'll be right there. Nearly there, getting there. According to my watch, I've walked 55 miles so far since Sunday. That's insane. Sheesh. Well, I'm here and arrived in the expo hall. I mean, it's like Las Vegas, isn't it, really? Generative AI has spawned many new companies. Here's one, look, there we go, Poolside, I think we can see the name somewhere. Poolside, oh there it is, up there, look. So, Poolside, never heard of them, but they weren't here last year, and they're here this year. I probably need to go and speak to them. It's like a game of AI venture capital Splat the Rat. But historically for us, AI's been either a feature of a tool, a product, a solution, or it's been a set of components. So as a feature, we've seen across the areas that we cover, which is somewhere between 100 and 120, the areas that we cover have seen AI driven, so basically mining data that the tool uses using ML, machine learning. That's been an emerging feature, and it's now an established feature in many of the products that we cover. For example, we've been covering AI ops for 3-4 years now, and that's nothing new. So there's various areas that we've already been covering for a long time that already bring in the notion of learning and inference from a machine learning perspective. The difference now is, of course, that we've got generative AI, so a whole different set of models. But the other thing that AI has been traditionally is it's been quite open platform, open source. We've had things like TensorFlow, PyTorch and so on, so these platforms for building AI solutions. But it's all tended to be quite custom built, which is a point that I'll come back to. Our kind of rule of thumb is if you can RFP it, so create a request for proposals as an end user organization, which means that you're going to be wanting to spend a lot of money on something, then generally we can radar it. That's our modus operandi. And we're seeing all of these companies emerge from an AI perspective that they've not quite reached the RFP level yet. So we're constantly looking at how these organizations are evolving, and so we can lock down a report that people are going to want to read. The interest in AI has turned to these generative platforms, Anthropic, ChatGPT and so on, the LLMs, the large language models that we're all having so much interest in today, and rightly so. By the way, a quick nod to AWS Bedrock, seeing as I'm here, which is a supporting service platform for for foundational models, so the things that you build LLMs out of. That's what Bedrock is for, and AWS has been doing a lot to build out its services to run general AI workloads. So it doesn't care what runs on top, is what I mean. You don't want a general AI workload. No, that's going down a wrong track. We just had a report out on AI governance, so that's the radar that we put together. I mentioned AI ops, which is old news, but from the LLM perspective, we're putting a report together right now about AI for software development. We're likely to see reports around AI for other aspects of building, of operations, of management, and then the data aspects of AI, so AI data services, AI data quality, using AI to enable the data to be clean enough to be used by AI. Putting together some frameworks around how to set strategy around AI, how to start planning for action across the enterprise, where it can be useful, and how you can decide how to adopt. But the whole of AI today is like a global mass market flash mob version of simulated annealing, which is that algorithm where you simulate warming everything up to a high temperature and then you cool it all down. And similarly, AI feels, and certainly the generative aspects of AI, feel like we're just throwing everything up in the air and let's see where it all lands. And it makes it very hard for everybody to make sense of it. So it's not too early to start working out what to do, though, and start actually setting strategy, even if you don't have specific things you're looking to do with AI yet, to start to think about how the strategy itself needs to be influenced by what AI can do for you. So if you want any help with that, then do please shout. We're right here. Speaking of strategy, this brings to the second point, which is about engineering and developer focus. Let's see how we get there. This whole area has to be filed as one of those types of technology that goes under the acronym of, I had to check that one, BLT WCWHSOT, which of course means board level technology. When can I have some of that? I've actually spoken to CIOs about this. They've been kind of scratching their heads and saying, I've been told we need to do some of this AI, but I don't know what for. And no one said we need to do AI for this thing. So where do we even start with that? And of course, you could argue, well, maybe they should think a bit harder about where they can use AI. We've seen this year definitely numerous examples of, in the absence of a good solid why, POCs. Let's see what we can do with this thing. Let's try it out on a lower hanging fruit, something specific around customer service maybe, or let's mine a bit of data and see if we can interpret it. But what's happening is we've reached the end of the POC phase, and organizations are starting to think about what they can do with it at scale. But equally, generalized application platforms are not yet the norm, which means you're going to be building it yourself. This is custom software. You're going to be pulling together some industry standard components now, but then the rest is going to be up to you, which means skilling up your developers, your engineers, your teams to make the most of what this tooling can offer. A good mantra is, good AI starts with why. Developers is one of the things that Matt Garman, the CEO of AWS, touched upon in his keynote. He said when he arrived in post, he wanted to focus hard on the engineering, the builders, the people that are creating solutions, building on top of the AWS platform. But the impetus also needs to be on the enterprises themselves, so they can be putting a similar amount of focus on the development teams, skilling them up so they can work out how to make the most of the AI platforms that are now available. Another key theme that I picked up here is what I'm calling business measurability. And so it's a bit more mundane perhaps than all the excitement around AI. But let's drill into what I mean there, because I think it's quite exciting. We're in a position where the measures that are coming out of our technology platforms, our cloud-based systems, and on-premise for that matter, are increasingly usable as business measures. So they're measures that the business can use to make decisions. And that to me is a hugely important development. If you watched the previous video, you know I was at the FinOps event, so we've got all those financial measures, the FinOps focus standard that's just being developed and being put in place, so they're exciting there. But then also talking to organizations looking at sustainability measures and how they can get on top of that so they can get a clear picture of their efficiency. And technology is always going to be using power. So, but if you can use less power and you can get more value out of the power that you're using, then it's a quid pro quo on the power front. You're using it for a purpose. And the first goal is to stop using it for no purpose. I'm also a big fan of the value metrics as per the value stream management reports that I was writing, and now Dana Hernandez is looking after, which enable us to give a view of are the things we're building of value to the business and able to actually take our organizations forward with better customer experiences, increased revenues, just stakeholder benefits and so on. Finally, we do have the less businessy but equally useful to the organization measures around open telemetry. So the addition of signals which give you an end-to-end picture of application performance within the open telemetry standard, that's being adopted. And where it gets really interesting, if you can think, is how we could bring all of these measures together to get a clear dashboard, an attributable dashboard that the business could then use. What the technology is doing, where it's working well, where it's adding value, how much it's costing, how much it's having an impact on our environmental factors and so on. That's the kind of dashboard that an organization needs. I need to start wrapping it up, but there's some pretty impressive card towers. Look at this thing. Wow. All the way up. And speaking of card towers, of complete relevance to that is the final thing I wanted to talk about is the sovereignty aspect. So I had a really good conversation with a couple of AWS clients in South America about AWS Outposts, what's essentially being able to run AWS TIN within your own data center, so being able to do processing. But a new feature is being able to connect it to your local storage like NetApp, and then being able to process the data that you have in-house already in situ, because you've banked on another vendor for that. So that's really quite simple and really quite exciting from a technological standpoint, because you don't want to be shifting all of your data just in order to be taking advantage of the processing that you want to build, the way you want to build applications. And in talking to these customers, we started touching on the subject of sovereignty. It's a really hot topic in South America right now. And I think that hopefully will be one of the final nails in the coffin of this idea that sovereignty is just a European thing. Sovereignty is a global thing. I know companies in Africa that need to deploy in such a way that data stays in country within the African organizations. And as per other presentations I've done on the topic, it's about IP, it's about workers' rights, it's about giving countries the ability to self-determine rather than giving everything away to some hypothetically global organizations. So it's a really important topic. Congratulations if you lasted this far. What else can I say about AWS? Continues to be an innovation behemoth and a grandmaster of the pivot. What they disagreed with yesterday, they've done by today. So very few organizations are that agile and able to move that fast at such a scale as AWS. And it's always great to be here to learn so much and see all of the exciting things that are happening. So I just want to say thank you to AWS for having me, and hopefully see you next year.